Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. Travis!
Not.
Is he strong?
Yes?
Listen, bud, he's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there goes the Spider-Man. See, I always think that people remember the first part of the thing, but I always like the, is he strong? Listen, bud, he's got radioactive blood.
It is unique.
Because it's like, someone is asking, is he strong? And someone's like, hey, listen, he has radioactive blood. And then you always want the next line to go like, that's not the fucking question I asked. I asked if he was strong. Cool, his blood's radioactive. Does that make him strong? But anyway...
Also, what happens if he spills his blood, then?
But anyway, who is, discussing the benefits / detriments of having radioactive blood? Why, it's me, Nick, the Merc with a mic, and my fellow anapologist.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about gene splicing.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's Travis.
You know what? That's a cool thing about this movie, because we are talking about Spider-Man Homecoming, by the way. And the cool thing about this movie is I actually don't even know, is it a radioactive spider that bit him, or was it a genetically spider that bit him?
They just mentioned it was a spider.
They mentioned it was a spider, but they, like, it's like this in Civil War, they constantly kind of go like, so yeah, I got my powers by like, yeah, whatever. Like, they constantly are just like, no one gives a shit, shut up, everyone knows that you got bit by a fucking spider, no one cares if it was a radioactive or gene spliced spider anymore, just shut up, like, just do your spider shit. Which is, I mean, I think if I like this movie for more, it's just like this retroactive continuity of like, especially the opening scene, because, this Spider-Man, like, it feels really at home in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm not coming yet. We'll get to that part later.
No, we won't. You can do whatever you want.
Does he have spider sperm? Listen, bud. Listen, bud.
Please don't make it stick to the walls.
I just like, listen, bud. He's got radioactive blood. Wait, so, like, does he shoot webs out of his ass? Listen, bud. He's got radioactive blood.
Is it gonna be your answer for everything from now on?
Yes! It's completely it. Man,
wow, this went off the rails fast.
It went really off the rails fast, Lance. So what do you think about the Chris Lord and Phil Miller being kicked off Han Solo? Listen, bud, he's got radioactive blood. But yeah, I greatly enjoy how well this movie just slips right into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because our opening sequence, we see Adrian Toomes, the Vulture, and his crew basically doing a construction job trying to salvage stuff from the first Avengers incident. Yep. Which is just the Chitauri thing.
It just felt really weird starting the movie with the villain.
I don't think, no, the other movies have started with a villain. I know Captain America, I think, started with Red Skull, finding like one of the Asgardian shit things. And, so that's not out of the realm. But it is weird how much we jump in time in this movie. Yeah. Normally the Marvel movies don't really do that much, but we have some like continuity to catch up on. So yeah, we see that he actually gets outbid another company, like I guess this new governmental thing called damage control, which is from the comics, is a thing that they do, which apparently Tony Stark has set up, and they even insinuate that he will profit from this. Yeah, and I'm kind of like, and so our Michael Keaton, who's playing a great fucking bad guy here, by the way, he's playing Toomes, and Toomes is kind of like, whoa, I bought construction equipment for this job. I took everything I had.
I hired people for this.
I hired people. Like, I have a whole fucking contract for this job. Like, you can't just take it away from me. And
this guy said, that sucks.
Yeah, so you're weirdly you're not completely on the Vulture's side, because he does end up selling arms to fucking criminals. Like, he is a bad guy. But you do see where he's coming from, in just that Tony is such a dick. Yeah. Like, it's hard to be on Tony's side nowadays. It's kind of hard to be with him completely. And So you get that main conflict, and then we cut forward 8 years to Spidey hanging out in high school. Or no, wait, Spidey is actually we start off with like this home movie video from the Civil War. Yep. Where he's just like hanging out, he's like, "Oh my god, like this is the most fucking awesome thing ever!" And I did this, and I did this thing, and then Cap did some cool stuff, and then Ant-Man grew big, and it's kind of like, and Happy is kind of like his babysitter or whatever, and Stark is a new absentee dad apparently. And yeah, I think the one thing that I really like about this movie is how much they really capture this high school element of Peter Parker. And watching it, like, especially halfway through, I finally realized, like, holy shit, they finally fucking filmed the ultimate Spider-Man movie. Yeah. And not like the ultimate, like, the best Spider-Man movie. No, I get it. But also true. Yeah. But, the ultimate, from the ultimate timeline, like, from, you know, the alternate universe, the Ultimates and stuff, that's this version of Spider-Man that they finally nailed. This really young, kind of, like
very new to his powers.
Yes. And it's really interesting because I love the fact that they give him plenty of chances for him to grow and kind of learn as a character in this, and you give him a lot more slack because he is such a fucking kid. Like, you cut him a lot of slack when he just does dumb stuff. Yeah. Because it's just like, he's a teenager. Like, and the suit that they give him, like, okay, Tony.
You dropped the ball.
Tony. You gave a weapon to a kid, okay? I mean, I realize that you didn't design it like that, except for later when you have a kill mode that he keeps activating. Yeah. What the fuck was that about? But you gave a fucking weapon to a kid, like this big fucking technological suit, like you basically enhanced his superpowers or whatnot. You gave him this big, huge thing. You invited him to be in part of the Avengers team to fight in this coolest thing that has ever happened to him. Yep. And then you kind of go, and then, you know, when he asks, like, dude, that was fucking amazing. I am down. When's our next thing, man? Next, like, you know, you mean the next mission? Yeah, next mission for what? Like, Happy will call you 2 months later. And I'm like, like, you can't give a kid a fucking high-tech suit. Like, look, I'm not gonna say Peter is abdicated of all responsibility for what happens in this movie. No. Because he's obviously, he has, you know, self-control or whatever. But one or two phone calls from Tony could have really fixed a lot of stuff in this movie if he had just, like, placated Peter. Give him pretend missions or something. Keep him busy. Because, yeah, if you had fucking spider powers, got this rad fucking suit, and we're like,
hey, would like be on the same team as Thor.
Yeah, and we're told, like, yeah, keep it to, like, bike thieves and you know, and helping old ladies across the street. I'd be like, nah, I'm fucking up gangs. I'm, like, I'm saving fucking airplanes. I'm doing rad shit, like, right away.
Nick, he got churros from the old lady.
He did get the churros from the old lady, so that was pretty cool. And I love the fact that he's just like, nah, man, I am ready to take on the world. I'm invincible. And I'm like, typical teenager.
That, and he's shown multiple times he is not, because he is actually really bad at actually using his powers.
Well, okay, so one, he doesn't have control over his own powers to begin with. He has a really hard time with that, and his own web shooters, like, he's very new to that. And on top of that, this crazy fucking suit that he basically jailbreaks like a phone later that he just doesn't know the fucking applications for. And of course it's a Tony Stark suit. So the fucking app design on the thing, it's so over, like it has way too much of everything on it.
It has a parachute.
Yeah, it has a parachute. It has like a bunch of different kind of webbing, like, you know, split webbing, ricochet webbing, fucking taser webbing, like all this crazy bullshit that is like, I don't know how to use half of this shit. But yeah, so he's sitting around kind of waiting for the next big thing to happen. And, you know, we see him hanging out in school, which is fun because, like, it's actually this, like, he might be one of the few white kids there. Like, of how, like, they've switched around Flash Thompson to be, instead of this jock, he's, like, this Indian kid that's on the decathlon team that kind of just makes fun of Peter. And is more jealous that Peter's smarter than him than anything.
Pretty much.
And I'm like, oh, that's an interesting change. We have Zendaya, she's playing, like, Michelle, which is a cute reveal later, where who she might be playing. I won't say definitively because they could always switch that up.
Yeah.
I don't know. But we have Liz Allen. I forget who played her. Damn it.
Liam Dibbs.
But we got Peter has a crush on her, and like that's the whole storyline there. And obviously this movie does end at homecoming, so you can only assume like, well, he's eventually going to ask her to to the dance. We have his aunt May, being played by Marissa Tomei, hanging out with him and take care of him and stuff. They got some cute scenes together.
And she gets hit on by like
she's
everybody.
hit on constantly. I think Liz is Laura Harrier is her name. And yeah, I just really like this whole high school aspect, and I like that his friend just kind of finds out that he's Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, because he wasn't listening to what Ned was saying.
Yeah, it's like, I told you I was coming over, man. I didn't realize that. I'm like, dude, where was your goddamn spider sense? Spider sense laying down at the job, man.
They actually didn't show spider sense like anywhere in this movie.
I think that was a choice of just kind of like making, because the spider sense is a tricky thing because you can only show it every once in a while. You can't show it every time it fucking goes off.
Right.
But normally even the Raimi movies did it like a couple times. This one, it is more like, yeah, I have a hard time telling if it's even there. But yeah, we even got a cool new additions to the Vulture's crew, which we meet up because that's how Spider-Man meets them, is he takes on these arms dealers that have these crazy fucking weapons.
Yeah, and we introduced the Shocker.
And then the Shocker, yeah. And, well, what you don't realize is that Vulture and them, they've designed their own gear to help them out with the backroom dealings and stuff. But their main thing is to take Chitauri and alien weaponry and mix it with our own technology via the Tinkerer, who is in this movie, as one of the crew. And they sell it on the black market. And I'm kind of like, man, that is really cool that they have a whole, like, black market kind of, like, economy based off of alien weaponry, because it's just laying around everywhere in fucking New York. I thought, I'm like, man, that's really fucking cool. It adds kind of like a mythos and a real idea to the world of that they're in, to this MCU, of just like, yeah, you can even make money off of just the side shit that ends up. Yeah, so with that, I think that the real strength of this movie is Tom Holland as Spider-Man.
Yeah, he does a really good job.
He captures a really young Spider-Man that's kind of like nerdy and not cool. Even look, we finally have one where we got a good Peter Parker and a good Spider-Man. Because the Spider-Man is like he's trying to be cool, but yet doesn't like. He doesn't even know how to be cool. Like, he's trying to be cool, but he's not used to it. Like, even in that scene where he's leaning against in the trailer you see him leaning against the door to announce the robbers. You actually get to see the scene where he's, like, setting up for it.
Well, because obviously you don't just magically do that.
No, he's like, okay, if I put my hand here, and then if I, like, lean across, like, this will be a good opening. And
it's like a spider selfie stick.
It's like you never think about it, but that's what all superheroes, when they do the reveal, like, I'm here, and you didn't know I was here. That must be what they do. Like, cause they have to be like, like, okay, I'll just like, yeah, this is how it is. Like, this will be cool. And it's like, man, that is hilarious. But yeah, he fucks up pretty consistently in this movie.
Yep. He gets like bad road rash in one where he like tries swinging and just drags along the ground. Like, oh, that had to hurt.
Well, I do love that he actually has to run across a park too at one point where it's like there's no trees or whatever.
Because it doesn't magically hit something.
He's like, shit! And he's gotta like just run across this golf field or whatever. Like, fuck. But yeah, if there's one thing about this movie is that it is actually really funny. It's still more of it's hard to tell as if it's more of an action movie, superhero movie, or a comedy, because it's actually, it was weird because through a lot of it I was like, man, a lot of this is reminding of a John Hughes film. And then a fucking John Hughes film plays in the background because it's fucking Ferris Bueller's Day Off in the background. I was like, oh my god. So yeah, I really enjoyed that aspect. Of course, anytime he suits up in the Spider-Man thing, because every minute he is discovering a new thing that either his suit or his powers can do, and you are like right along with him for the ride because he's just as excited as you are when you get the like. He's like, I have a
new power unlocked.
Activating Spider Tracer or whatever, or Reconnaissance Droid. Like, it comes from, like, his, like, spider symbol. Like, fuck, has that always been there? That's super fucking cool.
And let's not forget to mention that, like, he's probably the only white kid at this school, but this school is all full of, like, super intelligent people.
God, that makes a lot of sense to me. I think this might be the first time that's ever been depicted in a Spider-Man thing.
Yeah?
Yeah,
that's
where
weird.
normally he's just in a regular fucking school in Queens, and he's just the smartest kid there. And everything else is very stereotypical. Like, this whole school is like, they have like the decathlon team, they have a whole like fucking chem lab, they do a chess. I don't even think I saw a football fucking team.
No.
I think I saw like, they
had a coach.
They had a coach.
A gym teacher.
Yeah.
Who had to show Captain America inspirational movies.
God, that was funny. Like,
that's probably a war criminal. Who cares?
It's like, is he might be a war criminal? Yeah, whatever.
The state makes me show these.
So yeah, I love his friend too, his friend Ned, that like finds out that he's Spider-Man, because he is like a complete detriment to Peter, this entire movie.
Like, until like basically the very end, he is only a hindrance.
And yeah, cause he is just like super excited about him being Spider-Man, asking him like fucking constant questions about it. Like, dude, why aren't you telling everyone? I would tell everyone that I was fucking Spider-Man. And yeah, it's kind of hard. It's hard to see like from perspective, because I've always been like, yeah, the hero, the secret identity makes sense for general populace.
Yeah,
but he should tell people who are closest to him, and that's always a problem I had with the original Spider-Man movies too, is that they always find out anyway, and like the only one who didn't know was Aunt May, and it was just like, look, your people they're in more danger because they don't know about shit that's happening in your life, shit that's coming. They're actually they're way safer the more they know. And there's no fucking bullshit that can convince me otherwise.
Well, it's like, yeah, you don't want the villains to know who you care about, but you should let the people you care about know who your villains are.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, I just never got that. And, I really like the fact that Ned does find out, so that we can get the great conversation of just him asking like all the stuff that we as an audience want to know about Peter. I like that they're super nerds. They're like really nerding about like making this fucking Lego Death Star.
Yes.
And like, instead of Peter going, oh dude, that's lame, why do you gotta be such a geek? Why can't you be like everybody else and impress us? And it's like, no, this is not that type of school. Like, Peter, he comes up like, hey, I got the new fucking Death Star piece. Like, what? How many pieces? 3,582. Fuck yeah, let's go build that shit. And I'm
Except there's randomly cheerleaders in the background that call them nerds over. I'm like, yeah, you're in a school full of nerds. Who are you cheerleading for? It's decathlon? Like,
you guys feel out of like, the decathlon was like a big deal, okay? And yeah, I mean, I was surprised how much I was consistently laughing at this film, how funny I thought it was. I mean, even the decathlon teacher, who is also, I recognize him from Community, where he was one of the guys that ran the, not the debate team, but the, UN, like, you remember when they made 2 different UNs and they had to make a fake, had to make a parallel reality joke about it, where they were like fighting who was the best UN, who was the best United Nations, and he was the one that made the rules and oversaw that. I'm like, man, you have a weird niche thing about like, academic nerdy like competitions.
It's a very important role.
Even he has a funny line later where it's just like, man, it was really crazy what happened in the Washington Monument, and I can't, I couldn't handle losing one of my students again. And it's out of nowhere and they move to the next scene immediately, but I'm just like, man, that was hilarious. I want to know the backstory on that.
I don't. That's terrifying.
God. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool sequences in this film, like the Washington Monument, where he finally gets to save his friends. There's a couple fights with the Vulture they're really neat.
The first time he meets Vulture is terrifying.
Dude, Vulture snatches his ass like out of nowhere. He's not in the scene, and then suddenly he's all up in the scene, just like fucking whoa, what the fuck is that thing? And yeah, and he's scared, and we get Shocker number 1, and we get Bokeem Woodbine as Shocker number 2.
I really love Shocker number 1's plan. We're just like, I'm gonna threaten the guy with giant ass wings.
And I love the fact that that's pretty cool too, and you can only guess what happens to him. But I do love the fact that they add in Tinkerer in this. They add in fucking Shocker.
And one other person.
Matt Gargan makes an appearance. For any of those who are looking forward to any of the sequels, he's probably going to come back into it at some point. So that's interesting. Played by Michael Mandow, which was like, what? I didn't even know you were in this movie and you're fucking Matt Gargan? That's amazing. Yeah.
And if you're like me, you don't recognize the names, don't worry, the movie shows you who it is later.
Yeah, and I love the fact that, Shocker is not one where he's not going to get his own movie.
No.
He'll never get his own movie. But he, as a thug villain or whatever, like a minion, fuck yeah, he makes sense. And Vulture is basically completely different than he is in the comic.
Yeah.
I'll
actually be a little honest. When they were doing the thing they did to Shocker 1, I thought it was going to, mutate him to make him more Shocker-ish or something.
Shocker-ish? Give him the maxi pads, the yellow fucking arms or whatever. Although that did look like the arms were like a shock padding.
Yeah.
Or whatever. That's why he had those, he always looked like a downy comforter in the comics.
Well, they did say it's be careful that you could break your arm.
He has a dumb fucking costume in the comics.
It's like yellow fishnet all around his body.
Yeah, it is. It is weird looking. So yeah, they might even be setting up for they're talking about Sinister Six already, and I'm like, hold your horses. We only got 3 major people, and then even then, I don't think we'll see Vulture again.
Especially not the fact that it's Michael Keaton.
No. But yeah, I really enjoyed Michael Keaton in this. He is very threatening. There is a scene later, if we do a spoiler section on this, we might talk about it because it's my favorite scene in the movie, where he's in a car, with a couple characters, and it's intimidating and awkward, and Michael Keaton is in his element in it. He's just he is very comfortable in that scene because he's I fucking own this scene. This scene is mine and no one can take it away from me.
Seen that scene where he does that smile? I'm like,
woo! Maybe
you should have played the Joker.
Just flip that. Jack Nicholson could have been the fucking Batman.
Well, I don't know about that, but I definitely think that they had it was a very similar smile there. I'm like, is that Jack Nicholson? No, I know that's Michael Keaton.
How Batman's in this on a transitive property, because he played Birdman, alluding to his role as Batman.
Right.
And now he's Vulture, kind of on a meta joke because he was Birdman. So it was just this weird fucking math equation of just a transitive property of how there's Batman's kind of in this.
There's a Batman in this.
Look, and his whole line is just that, look, I gotta take care of mine and myself and fuck everybody else because those high-level people, Stark and them...
They don't care.
They don't give a shit about us. Us mid-level guys, they don't fucking care.
And you can't blame them.
And the thing about his speech is that he just doesn't say anything that's wrong.
No.
He's
doing the wrong things for the right reason.
Look, Tony, cares about people in, the abstract.
Right.
He cares about, I don't want to sell guns anymore because I don't want to kill people, but not on a personal level. Peter is, the only person he knows that is, a regular person, and he's a spider person.
Yeah.
And, he doesn't know anyone from, the level class, and he just doesn't want to know, really. he's a like barely functioning sociopath, really.
No,
when you really think about it. I mean, we like him and everything, and he's not. It's not like he's an awful dude. He's just selfish, and even he realizes it at certain points. I mean, I did like the scene where Peter does fuck up, like on the boat, like you see in the boat from the trailer. Like that is kind of his fault. That's his bad, and he does like and Iron Man's all kind of like, I wanted you to be better than me.
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, that's I actually get that relationship a lot, and I like that Iron Man's in this liberally, but like not a lot. Like he doesn't steal the movie almost at all. That job's for Michael Keaton. And I really enjoyed like the whole villainous crew. Donald Glover gets a small role that's actually really funny. They do even a little play on like making fun of like the Batman interrogation voice and giving a little stick to like DC, just a little elbow, just like yeah, this voice is kind of dumb, isn't it? And that brings me to the suit itself, because the suit, when he unlocks it, he actually gets his own little Jarvis, basically, who he calls Karen, played by Jennifer Connelly, who is fantastic, which I'm like, oh my god, this is a great element that I like that, because Peter doesn't have anyone to talk to when he's out on missions and stuff, except for when Ned's in the chair, he's the dude in the chair that he can talk to. So I like this aspect that he has like a person
someone to bounce off of.
Bounce back and forth off of when he's like just talking to himself. Because like in the comics, he's always talking to himself, but in like that monologue, sort of like inner monologue sort of thing. So I kind of like that he has someone to kind of capture that, like he has someone to talk to, so we still get that element out of it. And yeah, like, I don't know, I've been gushing for a while. Like, what did you think about the movie overall?
I liked this movie a lot. It was just really funny. It was well paced. I think it's important. And Marvel has been kind of notorious for not having very interesting villains. And, I mean, you can say that, Michael Keaton stole a show, but still, he did a great job. They did a good job with the villain itself.
No, Vulture is like a great middle-level villain, which makes sense for Spider-Man, because Spider-Man's always been, like, merchandise-wise, he's like an A-list superhero, but power-wise, he's always been this weird mid-level. Like, he's more on the, he's on the tier higher than the Netflix street people. Like, he's higher than, like, Daredevil, Luke Cage, and, like, Iron Fist and all that. Like, because they deal with street crime. But he's not quite Avenger level. Like, he doesn't deal with that level of threat. He's in like that.
But he also does interdimensional shit from time to time.
Yeah, well, he does get dragged into basically almost everything, just because of how popular he is. But,
even in his own series, though.
Well, even in his villains, like, even his best villains are like, Doc Ock. And it's like, Doc Ock's a really cool villain for Spider-Man, but you don't call the Avengers for Doc Ock if he's threatening people. I mean, you call for, if Doctor Doom is making shit, like, yeah, then you call the Avengers. But, like, you're not gonna call, Thor down to take care of the Lizard.
No.
Like, that's just not how it is. So I like the fact that they really bring in this mid-level, like, villain, like, this middle-class working dude, like, that's just pissed at the elite class.
Yeah.
And, you know
what? They should have given him a giant nose.
He actually learns from Vulture in this movie by the end of it, because in the end of it, he makes a very big decision. Probably, I feel, based off of what Vulture has kind of taught him.
Yeah.
Off of just like, hey, Tony is not, he's, he just doesn't think about the mid-level people. Like, when you're off doing your Avengers shit, who's gonna take care of, like,
the deli shop?
Yeah, the deli shop that has the sandwiches, and I'm just like, yeah, I totally get this on a psychological level, like what Spider-Man, like who is Spider-Man at the core of who he is, And yeah, out of all the Spider-Man films we had so far, this one is my favorite, and in my opinion, the best. As far as negatives, the only thing I can really mark down as a true negative would be that some of the CG during some of the fights, some of it's kind of apparent that it's just like it's a little rubbery, that it's like just like kind of like in the same thing that Wonder Woman had, where it's not like, no, this fight is still fun to watch, but it is like it is weird how he seems to kind of stretch in a couple scenes where he's just like, when he lands, he's not like, huh, that was a little weird looking. But that's pretty much, you know, they need him to do stuff that like a normal human can't do. So, but then again, they do that great CG and like that Planet of the Apes, like just looking at the trailer for Planet of the Apes and how good that CG is, I'm just like, man, like, is there really an excuse to not have some like just stellar CG? And they did spend a lot of money on this. I don't know. Do you have any negatives at all?
I guess my biggest negative that this is the 6th Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, yeah, this one does do a lot of unique shit, but at the same time, it's still the 6th fucking one.
No, I appreciate for how fresh it actually feels.
Yeah.
Like, how different it is. The idea of, like, the school is almost a completely different environment for him to be in. The whole idea of Iron Man being, like, a pseudo-father figure to him, like, that's new and interesting. That relationship is interesting.
I actually do like his relationship with Aunt May, too.
Aunt May is a very interesting... Like, you know what? They've always nailed Aunt May in all these movies. Like, even Sally Field in the Amazing Spider-Man ones, and the Raimi ones. They've always gotten Aunt May pretty accurate. And yeah, I love how Iron Man is like, you know, Tony is totally fucking creeping on his aunt, like, the whole time, just like, ugh. I even like the idea of Happy being kind of a surrogate guardian and kind of like babysitting him. Like, that's funny. I like almost all the side characters. Zendaya playing Michelle, who just pops up out of nowhere.
She's hilarious.
She might be like the unsung hero of this movie, because every time like you think like this scene, like a scene couldn't end on a funnier note, she'll pop up and just like, oh, also you guys are assholes, and just like flip off, like, what the hell? She even has like a weird thing where it's just like, yeah, it's too late. You guys are losers. Like, why are you even sitting with us? I don't have any friends. And it's like, it just cuts into the next scene. I'm like, okay, well, touche, I guess. Yeah, I kind of like the effect that Flash is this nevishy little douche kind of kid. That makes him more interesting to me rather than just the stereotypical jock. Yeah, like, if there was one thing, it's just that Liz is just not very developed as a love interest for him.
Yeah.
So it's just like, kind of like, yeah, I guess this is nice and everything. I feel like there's more reason for her to be into him, because it's like she seems to be in a school where smart people rule.
Right.
To be like, oh yeah, you're so smart, it's kind of sexy to me. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can kind of get that.
Yeah, but he's also super flaky.
But he's also super flaky, and
like, he even has one scene with her where it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go swimming. It's good team building exercise. This is really important to you, isn't it? Well, yeah. And then he leaves.
And well, he does. Well, he's gotta leave. He's gotta do Spider-Man shit.
Most of the time in these kind of movies, I would go, you know, like, no, you don't sacrifice the greater good for your personal cause. You gotta go save the world. This movie is the exact opposite. I'm like, no, go be a fucking high school kid. Get back there.
I'm like, man, I want you to go be Spider-Man, because I know that's important, and saving people is cool. But like, I do want you to have a win at one point with these characters, where it's just like, man, go swimming with them, or go to Liz's party, or have a win at some point. And then even at the, we won't spoil it for the end, because even at the end, he doesn't get a very big win out of it, which is true to Spider-Man, since he's a character that's always been shit upon since his creation. Like, that's kind of almost part of his character, is that shit never goes his way. But yeah, I really, really fucking enjoyed this movie. I just can't really find anything that I overall, you know, I have like a few nitpicks or whatever, like some like, I guess I would have done this a little bit differently, but overall I'm just like, man, Marvel nailed it again.
Yeah.
Doing it again, man. I mean, I was a little worried, you know, Iron Fist was pretty bad. And then Wonder Woman came out like, oh shit, like they might be creeping up.
That and the whole deal with Sony.
Yeah, but man, with how good this movie was, and fucking Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which I know wasn't everyone's cup of tea, but I really fucking liked. Yeah. I mean, I really liked that movie. I think Marvel, and I think they got one more. They got one more movie in this year. Do they have?
Yeah, Thor.
They got Thor. They got Thor Ragnarok. Holy god damn, it's a good year for superhero movies. man, I think they're going to be killing it this year. I don't see how this doesn't make like all the money in the fucking world. Hey, Disney has fucking Spider-Man back. Like, even if it wasn't a good movie, this was going to make all the fucking money in the world. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to give it, I'm going to have to give it 5, really unintentionally unintimidating voices out of 5. And a genuine nitpick. I mean, it's the best Spider-Man movie for me by far. I feel like it takes what was good about the previous movies and goes like, okay, those were good elements, we're going to keep those. But then the elements that didn't work, we're like, okay, we're going to ditch those and try something completely new. And for the most part, those new things totally work. And I'm just like, man, that it's basically like if we can give credit to the previous Spider-Man movies, they created a blueprint for how to make this movie.
Well, you'd almost hope so, considering how many of them there are.
Right. What did you feel overall, my man?
You're probably not gonna like it, because I'm not gonna rate it as high as you. Like I said, I do just kind of feel the redundancy here, though, with like so many Spider-Man movies, where it's like, they had to fail so many times to just make one good movie, like legitimately good movie. Overall, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I like this movie a lot, don't get me wrong. Also, partially, this might be just a coincidence, but on my scale here, that I consistently use for movies, 8 is for amazing, so obviously, Spider-Man has to get
Hey, that's appropriate right there. We're spectacular on there. Is it superior on there at all?
I mean, there's fantastic and perfect, so sorry there's not direct wording.
How about Ultimate? Is Ultimate on there?
Ultimate is not on here.
Man, he's got a lot of adjectives attached to his name. How about Friendly Neighborhood? Friendly Neighborhood, is that on your rating scale?
That actually is.
That's weird. But yeah, that was that's a high recommendation for both of us. I actually don't feel the fatigue. I feel reinvigorated with the Spider-Man franchise. I'm ready for a character. I thought, like, I don't want to see Spider-Man movies anymore. And I feel like that way with Spider-Man and Batman intermittently.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just kind of like, I'm done with Batman right now. I don't need to see any more Batman. And then I'm kind of like that right now with Batman. But Spider-Man, I used to be like that. And now I'm like, no. As long as it's this one and you put some effort in, I'm ready for some more Spider-Man shit. Because I find him, he's probably is like my favorite superhero.
Yeah.
Well, it just, he embodies that whole hero aspect of like, he's who you want to be when you're a superhero.
He's kind of the hero.
Yeah, he's, man, if there was like a quintessential, like, you know, paragon of just like, if you're going off of a superhero, what should you aspire to be like? And like the model, like if you ever, like the mold that you can deviate from a little bit, but this is what you stick to. Spider-Man would be my dude. And this movie has captured him in his early years, like his young Indiana Jones years, if you will, in my mind, very well. With that, we're going to take a small musical break.
Before we do that, actually,
yes,
we do have to talk about a death that happened when this movie came out.
What was it? Which one?
On the day that this movie came out, a voice actress for a Spider-Man character died.
Really? Which one was that?
Madam Web.
Madam Web. Oh, from the 90s cartoon?
Stan Lee's wife.
Oh, no! That is super sad.
Yes. As of June 6th, or July 6th, sorry, she did pass away.
Wow. That is unfortunate. Yeah, I remember Madam Web. Was that from the 90s cartoon?
That was 90s.
That was the 90s cartoon? Man, you know what? I didn't even realize that his wife played that character, but that's actually really fitting. Madam Web, the ultimate conspirator for Spider-Man's all the goings on, is Stan Lee's wife.
Yep.
That says a lot to me now that I think about it. That's actually pretty awesome. Well, that is super sad to hear. Well, on that note, I think this hopefully you know, since I know this is I think this is Stan Lee's favorite character as well. So I think in dedication, I don't know if I can find a sad Spider-Man music, Spider, like a funeral dirge, but with a Spider-Man theme song.
That'd be weird.
Although This movie was cool because it opens with that Marvel opening, but instead of the theme, it was like it was a new version of the Spider-Man theme.
Right.
Did you catch that?
Yeah, no, I saw that.
That was fucking awesome.
I heard that, rather.
It's like, dun Spider-Man, dun anything on Spider-Man. I'm like, oh my god, it's the theme! I love it. But yeah, with that, we're gonna take a small music break. We'll be back with the spoiler section right after this. Okay, it's the spoiler section for Spider-Man Homecoming.
Man, where did you even start for this one?
Okay, so this one, we're not going to cover absolutely everything that happens in the film because it's super packed. But I do want to get to the part of Homecoming because I feel like that's a great end cap for this movie. Because at this point, Spider-Man's fucked up. He fucked up that whole fairy thing. Mm-hmm. That was his fault. I mean, granted, I think that if Tony could have called him and said, hey, that thing you told me? That was good on you. I called the FBI. I hooked it up. That you did good work.
Yeah. Any amount of communication from Tony would have solved a lot of problems.
You see how that 15 seconds would have made this completely different movie? How that not... Again, yeah, it is on Peter. He did fuck up, but I love that he can fuck up. But I don't hate Spider-Man for fucking up.
No.
He fucks up in such a realistic way of just no, I would totally destroy that. Even jailbreaking his suit, which is bad. He's just there's a bunch of different combos on here. Should we unlock it? Yeah, unlock that shit. I don't know if I feel about no, unlock that shit right now. And I'm yeah, even me, if I had that button, it said hey, here's the thing here's a fucking suit that you don't know how to operate. You want to try it out? And it's just I know this will probably kill me, but yeah, I gotta press this button because this is fucking awesome. Taser webbing. Oh shit! Sorry, Fifi. That's so bad. Yeah, so he fucks that all up. Tony has taken the suit away from him. So the rest of the movie is kind of him kind of sulking. He hooks up with Liz Allen though. It's him kind of getting back to where before he was getting kind of arrogant. He was thinking he could prove himself to Tony. He was kind of getting school and stuff and my relationships, they're secondary to my life as an Avenger.
Yeah,
because that's what I
basically get passing all of his friends off as, I got the Stark internship, I don't have time for you.
Yeah, and it's he's made everything in his life about being an Avenger because he feels like that's what gives him worth. And it's this movie's version of him getting arrogant with his wrestling career from the origin. And I'm just this is a really cool, subtle way to bring that in, because it's a slower, over time thing, rather than I'm a wrestler and then the next night I'm an asshole. Mm-hmm. This one, it's a slow burn of just no, everything is less important than the whole Stark thing that I got going on. And he's quick to let you know it, too, is no, you're secondary. And I'm just and then it's good for him that he takes the suit away, and it lets him reconnect with his friends and with his life at school, and he just remembers man, school's fun. School's fun for Peter Parker, and he just doesn't remember how fun it was to do just to do stuff and tinker around and shit. Yeah. And so this whole the whole second act, I'm kind of okay, we were it's basically the end here.
It also has one of my favorite scenes though, is that after the fairy scene where he gets home and Aunt May is freaking the fuck out because he hasn't called her, and she's just on his case about you can't do that, I was so worried, and then he's just breaks down. He's what happened? Yeah. And his answer is, I lost the Stark internship, and she immediately drops everything to cover him because she knows how important that was.
No,
to him.
She knows that was the most important thing to him. She doesn't know why.
No,
she has no idea why,
and she doesn't care.
But she doesn't care because it matters to Peter, and that's all that matters to her, is that it matters to Peter. A really great scene that Marissa Tomei completely sells and proves to me man, she's actually a really good pick for Aunt May. Yeah. Despite how Aunt May is getting younger and younger, but I'm no, as far as just straight character wise, that is exactly how Aunt May would handle that scene. Like a G, like a badass parent. And yeah, so the whole time I'm wondering, like, okay, does he stumble upon the Vulture and his crew? Like where does the Vulture come back in the second act? Because at this point, Vulture doesn't know who he is. There's no way for Vulture to track him down via the like the first time with like the energy thing. He's gotten rid of that. I'm like, man, I don't see how these two things converge.
Like, he's going to Homecoming.
He's going to Homecoming. He's taking Liz, and so it comes out to me a complete shock where he knocks on Liz's door off of a home we've been to before, by the way, at the party, and fucking Michael Keaton answers the door. Oh my! It's just like, oh hey, I'm Liz's dad, and I'm like, fuck.
I think I actually said that out loud. Like, I actually went like, oh fuck me. It's like in the theater.
Just like the whole theater's like, shit! And then Peter goes to the thing, hey, don't fuck this up for me, okay? Like, they brace the fourth wall for just a minute, like, I know it's a shit situation, but just don't, you're freaking me out. So, yeah, they pretty much, like, really bear the lead on that.
Yeah, no, didn't see it coming.
Well, you know, they even address him as Toombs, so obviously, like...
That I kinda call bullshit on.
Well, okay, look, so it's 8 years later, right? So obviously it could have been that, like, maybe it's a share, maybe just his wife didn't take his name. Or maybe it's like more of a stepkid situation, even though it didn't seem like it.
See, that's the thing though, is that that's something you can't see coming because they don't give you any information.
Yeah. But it's also really important that you don't see it coming.
Yeah, that's why I don't give it too much crap.
So I'm not going to give it complete shit. Like, it's like, the thing is about it is they just don't make the name change apparent.
Yeah.
Like, maybe he had to change his name after he got into some trouble as well, so maybe his last name isn't Toombs anymore. Maybe that's why he's not in the database. They just never really... It's like a small detail that they don't flesh out. It's no big deal. But anyway, that reveal is fucking awesome. Because, like, that whole scene of him in the car talking with Peter and slowly figuring it out, because unlike everyone else in the school, Michael Keaton isn't a fucking moron.
Yeah.
Like, he lays it out, and when they lay it out in the car of just like, oh, so you're friends with Spider-Man, huh? Yeah, like, through the Stark internship? So you meet Tony Stark a lot? Well, yeah, a little bit. Oh, who's he tooling around with nowadays? Spider-Man a little? Interesting. Well, it must have been really scary when you and Liz were trapped in that elevator and Spider-Man saved you. I saw it from the ground, and like he lays that whole thing out, and you kind of go like, yeah, why don't more people figure this out?
Yeah.
It feels like it's not. It feels like it wouldn't take a lot to, you know, piece this together. I mean, it's kind of like the Dark Knight movies where, you know, Bruce Wayne comes back from the dead.
Don't start that again.
Like, comes back from the dead, and a super vigilante starts fighting people with high tech, really expensive gadgets, and no one even questions.
And then goes into retirement, and becomes a recluse, and then comes back out. Yeah, that was dumb.
I knew you were Batman because of a look you gave me at the orphanage.
No, because
it was obvious.
Not an idiot.
Because you're not a moron like everyone else at fucking Gotham. But no, like that scene is fucking awesome, and Michael Keaton owns that shit.
It's kind of terrifying, honestly.
He gives him that speech at the end of it of just like, hey, and he gives him like, hey, you saved my daughter. I can never repay you for that. I'm gonna give you this out. You get this one time. You go to Homecoming. You don't fucking mess with me again, and I don't mess with you. But you come at me, and I'll kill you and everyone you fucking love. I don't even give a shit, because all I care about is my family, and I will fuck up anyone that threatens that. And Spider-Man, Peter, he goes in, he walks in, and he's already just like, later we realize he's already decided to take over to Treasure Vulture. He goes up to Liz and is just like, I'm sorry, I gotta go take care of some shit. And it's rough, because you know, like, damn it, I wanted him to have a win so bad, but he can't stay here. Like, he seriously can't, because if he, like, as much as I want him to stay, if he would have stayed, he wouldn't have been Spider-Man anymore. That's not who Spider-Man is. So he leaves, and I'm like, yep, that's the...
Basically, any other point of this movie, if he would have decided not to be Spider-Man and taken the win, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But this is the one time where it's like, no, you gotta go do it.
This is it. This is the moment of truth right here. And, we leave off with this whole thing they've been hinting at, which is this big heist that they want to pull. It turns out it's the final moving day from the Avengers Tower to the new Avengers facility, which they got some, crazy fucking, Ultron heads and and Iron Man armor and reactors and a bunch of crazy tech that they're gonna steal. So that's, where, Spider-Man goes to confront him.
Well, first he gets punched the fuck out by Shocker.
Yeah, that's fun. And then Ned comes in to save his ass at the very end, which was really fun, which was really cool. And I even like the further conversations that Vulture has with him when Peter finally faces off with him. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, I respect you, but I gotta do this thing. And that's where he really reveals of what he thinks of Stark, and just like, man, you're like me, Peter. Like, you just we're mid-level guys. We're not we're not Avengers level. We're not on their radar. We're trying to make it down here in the fucking shit of it. And I think that that was weird, because I thought that was I think that's what really Spider-Man took away from this movie, if he learned anything from it at all. And I was just like, dude, his moment of what he learns from this movie doesn't come from Tony. It comes from the fucking villain, of him talking about how shit Tony is. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that is really interesting. And yeah, we do the whole scene of him lifting the heavy thing off top of him.
That was a really kind of almost scary scene.
Man, well, he reacts like a person that's actually trapped would react.
Yeah.
Which is something that I've never really seen before off of a superhero movie.
That was really good acting on his part.
He gets scared, and he starts yelling, and it's
crying.
And crying, and I'm just like, Jesus. And it, cause no one... That's such a realistic reaction to a point where it was really making me claustrophobic and really scared. And off of that thing, I'm like, I like that I liked the fact that they made the reference to one of the more famous moments in the comics where he just lifts that heavy machinery off top of him, and he's got water all running down on him. It's a really nice moment for the comic book fans. It does kind of have that trope of just that were in the previous Spider-Man movies of I'm thinking about something someone else has said, and it's gonna give me more strength.
Just be stronger than you were before.
Yesterday. But you know what? It's cool. I dug it, and we get a cool final fight at the top of this camouflage plane. It crashes, and then we kind of have this utter face off at this. Coney Island, I think, was it?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure what the hell it was. But we have a final face-off, and Spider-Man just keeps getting his ass kicked by the Vulture. He's kind of getting his shots in too. He fucks up the wings, and he's trying to save him at the end of it, because he knows that the shit's about to blow up, and he does.
Yeah, that was the most shocking part,
which is cool, because I'm like, yes, Spider-Man saves people, and it's really cool, because it's I'm glad that like I said before, we're probably never going to see Michael Keaton as the Vulture again. I don't think they'll get him back with his contract. He might make a cameo.
Yeah.
But I like that he's available and in the background, and a character that they could draw from if they so chose.
No, it subverts so many of their own tropes, where it's all right, Spider-Man, he's seen Spider-Man, he threatened Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And he went into a giant fire explosion. He's dead.
Well, it speaks to who Spider-Man is as a character, because all the other Marvel heroes, Iron Man's not afraid to, kill some people, and, Cap's a soldier, Thor's a fucking warrior or whatever, Hulk's
a whole other thing.
Fucking Black Widow's a goddamn spy.
Assassin.
Scarlet Witch used to be a fucking terrorist. Spider-Man is the one hero there that is just no, no one dies.
Ant-Man.
No. Oh, okay, also Ant-Man. He doesn't want anyone, but he did kill his fucking villain too. Yeah. And he's a thief. But what I do like about Spider-Man is just no. I want to save everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone deserves that. No one deserves to die. It's very important to him, and
especially from a villain who threatened him so much.
Threatened him and everyone that he loved. Not even a hesitation. No. Not even a hesitation on Peter's no, don't do that. There's not even a moment's hesitation or a thought. It's just no, I gotta do everything I can to save this guy, because that's who I am. I'm Spider-Man. At the end of the day, I save people. And I'm just
But Nick, is he strong?
Travis, I'll tell you one more time. Listen, bud. He's got radioactive blood. And yeah, I really like that, and he webs them up at the end with like little notes. I love the little notes, very from your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man feeling.
Well, that was another great scene because he also wasn't immediately calling to brag, essentially, as like, hey, see how good I did.
Like, hey, look, I know this is your deal, Happy, so here, I have this thing. And he was trying to call, but like to warn them about the plane. He learns fucking responsibility. Like, I don't want to call it out because like the whole power and responsibility thing, but he learns how to be responsible in this movie, which is fucking rad. I'm just like, yeah, that's a good character arc. And he gets the option of just joining the Avengers as like in a new what could be like the Scarlet Spider suit. Yeah. I assume gets an option to join up with the Avengers and just like, you know what, I'm cool. You know what? If I think I'm going to be down at more of a friendly neighborhood level, and I'm just like, man, that feels right. That feels correct. And I mean, I kind of wanted him to add us on the fact like, hey, but anything big goes down, call me. And I'm just like, yeah, that's where Spider-Man's at. Spider-Man's on that mid-level thing, but if you needed some backup or stuff, he is one phone call away. But otherwise, he's on the ground. He's got his nose in it, and I'm like, yes, that's where Spider-Man is. That's where he belongs.
Then it's the great scene where it's like, wait, this was a test, right?
Yeah,
you got it.
Oh, totally. Why I too. And then you kind of realize that Tony was just gonna like, actually, that was probably the best decision he could have made. And he's like, and then even we get a surprise cameo from Pepper Potts, like, what the fuck? Did you guys fuck this up?
Did you screw the pooch again?
Did you fuck this up again for me? It's just like, look, he made a surprisingly mature decision. What do you want me to say?
And then they just kind of throw it in there like, well, we gotta show him something. He's got an engagement ring? I've had it for 10 years. What?
Yeah, what?
And both Tony and Pepper kind of stop and stare like, okay, that's creepy, right?
That's a weird, we're gonna return to that.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a conversation about that, Happy. We get to, and of course he gets the suit back, which is really cool.
Still pretty sure it was just lunch.
And then we get, Aunt May, like, at the very last thing, like this cutout of what the fuck.
Yeah.
And I kinda like that. I like, cause that's ballsy. They've never had Aunt May know before. I'm like, that's cool, that's different. And plus, I think Aunt May deserves to know.
Yeah.
And this whole idea of Aunt May can't really handle it, she can handle it. Like, she's, especially in this one where she's like, look, she's not gonna have a heart attack, she's not that fucking old.
She's like, what?
Also, but
50?
It did lead to a very nice scene where I thought, like, look, I can't put her through, like, me being in danger constantly, not since what happened. They never even mention Uncle Ben by name.
No.
But you get it. Like, you get, like, they mention it, but in a way that his friends don't want to mention it because they know it's a really
sensitive
topic. So they always kind of talk around it. Which is cool because Uncle Ben's death has been so done to death that we don't need anything more from it than that. Plus, it feels like a real conversation people would have after a couple months after it happened. You know, I mean, it's still sensitive, so I don't want to
be explicit.
Be explicit about it, but and so I really like that aspect. And we had a couple fun. End stingers, one with Matt Gargan coming back in his spinal thing near the thing of it because he got hit by a car. And he's coming up to the Vultures like, I heard a rumor that you know who he is, like you know who the Spider is, and Michael Keaton is kind of like, nah, if I would have known who it was, he'd be dead already. And I kind of like that. I kind of like that he had enough respect for Peter and because they did have that respect of no, he's also a family man. He's protecting the people that matter to him, and is on that level. He has that respect for Peter, so that he actually wouldn't tell people no. I mean, I'll probably fuck him up if I ever get back out of prison, but I'm not gonna put his ass out there like that. That's not who I am. And also one at the very end that if you want to stick for, Captain America does another extra stinger thing about patience. And being disappointed, and I'm like, okay, Marvel, it's funny, but one time, one time when I wait through the goddamn end of the credits, you get one thing of that. And I just...
that was funny.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this movie in a way that I haven't enjoyed a Spider-Man movie. I don't think ever.
No,
at least for a while. Mm-hmm. So yeah, with that, you have anything else to add before we wrap this up?
No, just it's a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think they'll? Do you think Disney will get the Sinister Six for the next movie?
No.
Do you think they'll get the same director back? You know, well, listen, bud. He's got radioactive blood.
Okay.
I don't know who this director is, but he's got some radioactive blood. But yes, thank you so much for listening, and if you enjoyed this movie review, check out some of our other movie reviews in our back catalog on iTunes, or just check out some of our regular UGO podcast episodes. If you want to subscribe to us on iTunes, that's always helpful. Maybe give us a 5-star review while there. We will read whatever goes in that review box on the air word for word. That is my guarantee. And with that, I think we can just wrap this one up. We are on the Apology Geek Out, and we're out.
We're out.
And we got radioactive spider blood.
Yeah.